I believe that every movie adheres to the 29-point story structure. No matter if the writer outlines first or if they dive in blind, the end product follows the same 29 beats. Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar is my 46th piece of evidence. This movie is the weirdest yet ultimately wholesome thing I've watched for this channel to date, and that includes The Big Lebowski. I want to see these ladies bumble through more Bond villain schemes, and I want to see them play accidental super sleuths. This thing got me, man, I'm not gonna lie, and I'll volunteer to write the next screenplay. Hell yeah. Josh Greenbaum embraced the absurd while tying it to grounded emotions and moments, a difficult high-wire act. Kristen Wiig and Andy Mumolo clearly adored their characters, and the supporting cast all clearly loved the script. And it all came together into one adorably naughty package upon the 29-point story structure. Let's begin. A tight focus on the core elements of the protagonist's personality, inner conflict, and situation. We're introduced to Austin Powers villain Sharon Fisherman and her diabolical mosquito revenge plan, and the dynamic mid-40s duo Barb and Star with all the ways they're perfectly in sync. Besties to the end. Where, why, and how the protagonists exist in their world, with a focus on why they don't quite fit in. The center point of their shared universe shutters its doors, leaving Barb and Star without jobs, and Mickey returns from, like, the best vacation spot ever, contrasting the rut they found themselves in. A singular event that's never happened before, and is destined to lead the characters away from their status quo. Barb and Star flip from disinterest to polite intrigue, and Vista Del Mar is name-dropped. An examination of what's different in light of the something new, what's the same in spite of it in relation to the status quo. Barb and Star navigate the social mores of their talking club, then sabotage themselves by lying, and then admitting to lying. The discovery that things are less than ideal, or an exploration of how badly things are. For the first time, Barb and Star are divided in opinion about the trip to Florida, and their marriage backstories are revealed, further deepening the rut they're in. Characters dedicate their effort to a specified goal, which is smaller in scope than the primary objective of the third act. Barb and Star prepare for the vacation of a lifetime. Sharon Fisherman sets her diabolical mosquito revenge plan into motion, while Edgar looks beyond his role in the plan to clinch his romance with Sharon. A brief checklist of the story elements needed for the second act. Sharon's henchmen and her diabolical scheming, the utterly ridiculous and absurd, Barb and Star's mind-bogglingly wholesome friendship, and of course, Vista Del Mar, Florida. The singular event that launches the characters into the wild jungle of the second act, also called an oh shit moment. Edgar arrives in Vista Del Mar at the same time as Barb and Star. Oh shit. Characters must learn all new rules and expectations distinct to this adventure. Barb and Star learn the difference between hotel and motel and quickly figure out how to reach out and take what they want. Characters showcase their ability to grow in the areas this adventure requires, typically through external means. Barb and Star accept an upgrade in their vacation, no matter the dubious explanation, and finally begin the vacation they expected to have. Characters face legitimate and understandable reasons to deviate from their stated convictions, agendas, or desires. Edgar feels the sting of Sharon's romantic reluctance, his central motivation, and Barb pushes Star to flirt with him. An escalation of problems that vex the characters. Barb, Star, and Edgar party together. Edgar threatens Sharon's plan, then feels guilty the next morning, and Barb and Star reconcile with their first portion of booty since their marriages. Characters evolve internally by utilizing everything they've gathered and learned. Barb and Star relish in all the souvenirs they plan to bring back from Vista Del Mar, while Edgar wrestles with his feelings through song. Then Barb and Star play innocent about their tryst, evasive of each other's feelings. Journey-weary characters reconcile the reality of their ongoing situation with who they were in the first act. Edgar is contacted by Sharon's Plan B guy to ensure the Act 1 plan stays in motion. Barb wrestles with her widowhood, but ultimately chooses Star over Edgar. Then Star wrestles with her self-esteem issues, but ultimately chooses sex over Barb. A singular event that strikes at the protagonist's core conflict. Star makes and plans to keep a secret from Barb, and there's no turning back from here. Characters find needed answers for both external and internal conflicts. The tight friendship of Barb and Star strains beneath the weight of their shared secret, and we're finally told the truth of Sharon's childhood humiliation and resentment towards Vista Del Mar. The clarified objective is realized in part or in whole, though it's meaningless without the completion of the primary objective. Edgar meets the Plan B guy, but it's all in service to a woman he's trying not to love. Then Star is tempted by another tumble with Edgar, but it's at the risk of removing herself further from Barb's life. An existential conflict that wounds the character's sense of self, worldly identity, or their journey. Barb and Star distance themselves further from one another, despite having the time of their individual lives. Sharon takes matters into her own albino hands. Then Barb's individuality is validated by Tommy Bahama, and Star is urged back to Barb by Morgan Freeman. An undeniable win for the protagonist, typically in direct connection to the rebirth. Barb holds back on some activities, determined to leave something special for her and Star. A grand loss directly connected to the character's newfound inability to quit the journey. Barb witnesses Star's betrayal with her own eyes, then overhears the mosquito revenge plan with her own ears. A thematic freefall tied directly to the heavy price. Sharon convinces Edgar that Barb and Star are spies from a competing agency. Then Barb gives away her upper hand in a very on-brand for this movie kind of way. Kudos. A singular event that robs the protagonist of seemingly any chance of success. With the leash pulled tight again, Sharon calls for the deaths of Barb and Star. Characters cannot return to their starting personas and must turn to face the primary objective. Barb and Star reveal their secrets and lay their raw wounds out in the open. Yo-Yo is en route with the deadly mosquitoes, then Edgar ties up Barb and Star to keep them from ruining the plan, and yet another secret surfaces from between the pair. Characters move towards the climax while utilizing the major swings and sneaky misdirections of the story. The seafood jam comes back into play. Barb and Star face the same fate they decided Trish had suffered, culottes, and the reunification of the shared universe of Barb and Star. Then Edgar faces Sharon. The final confrontation between the protagonist and the antagonistic force. Barb and Star rush to the receiver to save the day. Edgar reveals his feelings for Star, then fights off the rival Plan B guy. Then Sharon blasts herself from a cannon to intercept Barb and Star. The singular event where the protagonist finally confronts their place in the status quo. Barb and Star leave Sharon to suffer the fate of the mosquito revenge plan all by herself. The direct aftermath of the climax. Barb and Star reflect on their good times over the past 95-minute runtime. Then they're saved by Trish. The consequences of the climax in relation to other characters in the status quo. Barb and Star forgive Edgar, and Sharon finds a beach full of people who'd rather be her friend than be killed by her. A tight focus on the protagonist contrasted from the opening. Barb and Star rekindle their shimmer. And there you have it, my 46th example to support my argument that all movies follow the exact same story structure, regardless of how the writer approaches their craft. Barb and Star played fast and loose with sequence times there at the end of the second act, yet every step of the 29-point story structure is firmly struck. But does this absurd spy thriller follow the same plot beats, as a constantly ratcheting pressure cooker of tension and consequences? Yes. Yes, it arguably does. Next on my docket, Uncut Gems. Please subscribe to stay up to date with this and future videos, and please like and comment with your thoughts and reactions. I'll talk to you next time.